Well, hey, and welcome to another episode of Hush Hush Taboo Talks. I'm Juju.
And I'm Shay.
This is we're gonna put taboo
Taboo Talks.
into the name that we actually made for ourselves.
Absolutely.
And thank y'all again for your engagement and support. Let's get our monocles out for this, all right? This is what we decided on today
about?
was BRICS. And I'll explain what this means because it's loaded. BRICS as it relates to Dr. King's philosophy on withdrawing from economic support. So what we mean by BRICS, or what is meant by BRICS, because, this wasn't my creation, this wasn't our creation, but BRICS is an acronym for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and a few others that are withdrawing their participation allegedly from the American dollar. And then, to bring it back to Dr. King, we posted on hush_podcast on IG. This is pinned to our post, so it's one of the first three that you see. And bear with me, it's a lengthy quote, but it's really powerful. It's an excerpt from Dr. King's last speech, I've Been to the Mountaintop, several hours after which he was murdered. Always anchor our external, direct action with the power of economic withdrawal. We don't have to argue with anybody. We don't have to curse and go around acting bad with our words. We just need to go around to these stores and to these massive industries in our country and say, God sent us here to say to you that you're not treating his children right. And we've come by here to ask you to make the first item on your agenda fair treatment where God's children are concerned. Now, if you are not prepared to do that, we do have an agenda that we must follow. And our agenda calls for economic support from you. Our agenda calls for withdrawing economic support from you. That was the most important part, and I managed to get through it except for that. But yeah, so in other words, the narrative that we're being told is that these countries are withdrawing their economic support from us. Dr. King Ben said this in '68, but he was talking to us to withdraw from the systems that be in this country.
Right.
Like what they're doing, but like our own city, our own people, to withdraw and make do with what we have, and also invest prudently in ourselves and each other, and patronize each other and ourselves.
Right.
And he's been saying this since what, 40, 50, how many years? That's a long time.
That's a long time.
So I don't know how you feel.
Well, you know how I feel already. I told you about it. I feel like they always come up with these problems, issues, theories, I think once or twice a year to cause mass chaos and destruction towards people. I feel like they create these narratives, like you said, on the news and as such, and want people to, oh my God, go crazy over it and worry over it and cause them depression and anxiety so they can go to who, I'm not going to say this name. I'm not going to say the name, but to get their meds and to get their, meds for stuff because they're causing all this mass chaos and disruption in spirit, like we was talking about earlier, spiritual warfare.
Yes.
In a sense. So I don't believe the hype. Like, I feel like for me, and this is just me, and y'all could call me crazy or whatever, but I feel like all of them are cahoots together. And they all working together and they create these stories, like I said, to cause mass chaos. And just like COVID and all these other things,
we're going there on today. Yes. Amen though. Preach.
But I mean,
Preach.
It's true.
Because it is the truth.
I'm not saying COVID was made up, but it caused so much chaos. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it was something
too coincidental to have not been just a teeny bit orchestrated. I'll say it.
Oh yeah, well, planned and put out so that people can catch it.
And we're not the first one, and there's PhDs who say this as well.
Yeah, of course, and doctors
who are
say that
in virology, right?
But I say this every year. They come up with something. They want us to believe something to cause us to be anxious, not to have a peaceful and happy life. So I tune that stuff out. I don't believe the hype. I don't believe that, I don't believe they're pulling their money. I believe they're all together, and I believe that if it's a change in currency, it's been planned, and they're making up this story because it's been planned. Like, everything has been planned already, and they know what they're doing from jump. I don't feel like nobody's pulling from nothing. It's just like they already made up their mind that they're gonna pull currency to mess up other people's pockets. Think about it. The rich people that's born rich is good, but the people that are coming from new money, you know what I'm saying? Y'all better get your shit right, because once they pull your bank account and pull your shit, y'all better have some investments. Because
gold, silver, minerals, skills, yeah.
all that.
Amen. That's the narrative though, and we talked about this in prior episodes. Some of which might be on YouTube, but all of which are exclusively on Spotify.
Right.
George Orwell said in 1984 that fear is more useful a tool. They don't use love because they can't control love. So what they'll do is induce fear and anger and all those lower vibrational emotions. Create a catastrophe. Create a catastrophe.
Right.
And then get it so dire that the only solution is the one that they came up with.
Right. And remember, once you have these massive people, massive amounts of people operating off of low frequency, that's when control happens. They're much more easier manipulated,
yes.
Controlled, and vulnerable.
Bullied,
of course,
things,
all
yes.
these things. So you're gonna want that mass chaos to cause low frequency, to have people going out their minds so they can be controlled and vulnerable. And seeking help for medication and all this stuff.
A sick patient, a healthy patient is not a lucrative patient.
Right, exactly, that
right.
part. So that's what I believe. That's what I say.
That's the truth.
I don't believe the hype. I just don't.
It's always been the case, though. I mean, there's historical evidence like of their MO.
Yeah.
This is their mode of operation.
Right.
This is it's consistent.
Right.
The Tuskegee experiments, when they voluntarily injected predominantly black men.
Exactly.
I think there were some women too with syphilis.
Yeah.
Right. Knowingly.
Right.
So they didn't know. The people they did this to, the human beings, the black humans they did this to, didn't know, but the administrators knew. The administrators knew.
Right.
And that's only one of a few. And that's just what we know.
Right.
So, I mean, that's one example of what we know.
Right.
And then I've heard from a bunch of sources that what we know and the technology anything that they publish that they make us aware of, they're threefold much more progressed. It's like, I don't know if it's 300 years progressed or it's more than 30. So it's a long, anyway, what my point is, we're kept, what is the breaking news and the most up-to-date news is far outdated.
I get what you're saying, but I don't care about none of it.
I watch neither.
Like now they're saying, they're revealing that there's aliens. So why now that you want to reveal there's CIA reports and there's Army records now and there's White House records coming out to the open for the public can view it? Not to get off topic, but why now that you want to reveal this information? Something is not right. Like, it seems a little planned because you've been denying, aliens are not even addressing it for years. And now all of a sudden now you want to tell the public, it's open to the public. We could see the alien pictures and documents, CIA documents from years ago now.
I think that's perfectly pertinent because I remember when I was 8, like way before the craze of aliens was all the way out. I saw it. I saw at least one.
Oh yeah.
UFO.
Yeah, me too.
So I knew with my own.
You saw the stories. I told you.
Yeah. So I knew this as a fact. They try to compromise your critical thinking. So this is relevant because it's kind of like that Mandela effect too. It's like, no, we said if they wipe out all of the evidence of something on the internet, then I guess it didn't exist. But those of us who were alive and had memory from a time before, we know what we know.
Right.
We know what we experience, and they do say you remember your last memory, not necessarily how it happened, but you remember something different than what they're saying happened.
Right.
In a lot of cases.
Right.
And it ain't no different from the aliens and everything else. So I think you're right, and it does relate to the BRICS thing, because if all of these superpowers have to be in cahoots, it's you see, it's like a domino effect. It's something happening in a so-called third world country.
Right.
When if I look around the corner in certain places where I live, it looks
Right.
third world without context.
Right.
And with context, it's even fucking worse.
Right.
So, these things are all tools. They try to weaponize the truth, and then say that the truth is not true.
Right.
So I know it's about self education and critical thinking.
Right.
I wanted to speak a little bit on how we develop or cultivate our tools to get over this. And if you paid attention to last week's episode, or if you caught it, one of my tools for fuckery is laughter. Radical laughter. Keep yourself, keep your body, just
developing
laughing
high.
all the,
Just like in the Mary Poppins movie, when he's like I said, he was vibrating on high vibration. He didn't care about nothing. He just laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed.
And was deemed crazy. Mary said, "Oh, you're ill. You're having a fit." They made it seem like he had a condition.
Right.
And then he had to get sad.
And then he came low.
To deflate.
Low vibrational. Yeah. And I said it to me, it was just about frequency.
It's literally about that. Come on, bring it back to the exclusively on Spotify episode that we did on Mary Poppins.
I love how you plug it in.
Much. We have to plug. There ain't no such thing as too much plugging. Yes, but you're right. This is all synchronous. This is all interrelated and interconnected.
Absolutely.
I'd rather be Uncle, what's his name though? I forgot his name, but I think Ed Wynn is the actor. I'd rather be him. He's my favorite. That's my favorite part. And I love Mary Poppins. I love the character. But that dude who he's like, I can't help myself. I have to stay up here. I have to be delusional or whatever it is.
Right.
But it's, because down there it's too,
Right.
Because down here it seems as if it's down the rabbit hole. Certain narratives and certain things that you are told, and then versus what you know intuitively and inherently, it's like they're saying 1 + 1 is 4, and the sky's purple, y'all. I mean, sometimes it's purple. That's a bad example, but up is down and down is up, and like George Orwell, 1 + 1 is 3, and war is peace, and they live.
Right.
Didn't they live? Wasn't one of the ones, money is your God? I think that was one of the messages.
Yeah.
And so
obey me,
consume, have kids.
So what do you think it's real? Do you think they're pulling the US dollar? What do you think about it, or you just think it's a bunch of bullshit?
Both. I feel like, because I was watching this chick, Erin Lyons, and she channels Source, and she was saying that she calls on the Arcturians, who are supposed to be a benevolent 9D beings, like they're versions of God. It's God in different forms, saying, and they're the most benevolent, the ones that want us all to do good and reach love, which is the utmost place to be. Was saying it's all a show kind of thing, and you're supposed to have fun with it, because these are fragments of God broken up, like a prism that's broken in billions of pieces, agreeing apparently. I don't agree with. I don't know how I feel about signing a soul contract to do what I'm doing, because I don't remember it and I don't do contracts. But that's another story.
Right.
But I agree with the general sentiment, or the general tone, which is we're broken up fragments of a prism, which is all God.
Right.
It's like someone had said, I forgot who it was, if you take a cup from the ocean, God is the ocean, and you are the cup of water is still the ocean, but it's also you individualized.
Right.
So we're all fragments of God trying to remember what we agreed to forget, is the story that I've gotten. And so anyway, the point is to have fun, and they like it when we have fun. So as ridiculous as it seems, to answer your question, I guess that's a roundabout way of getting to the answer. But that's what we're here for. We're here to talk and explore ideas. I think it's both. And I'm getting to the point where either or doesn't serve me to think of. It's like, is it this or that? It's like, it's both, because what they were saying was everyone has perceptions and there's all kinds of truths and they're all true simultaneously. And I'm like, and if you can wrap your head around that and not judge it, like even the worst thing you can think of on some cosmic like level that perhaps we forgot to understand, it makes sense. Otherwise, none of this shit makes sense.
Right.
So I think it's both, but I'm gonna focus. I think it's both, like they're withdrawing, and I think more, but I more fervently know that, or have an intuition, allegedly, that they are that there is a conspiracy. Literally, like there are people who are getting together and doing things intentionally and covertly against like others in an effort to control and manipulate, like you said.
Right.
And if it's fear or hatred, they can manipulate that more easily.
Right.
And I know you think it's BS because it is.
I know. Well, you already know. I told you my opinion on it.
Yeah.
I don't watch the news. You know, whatever I hear from social media. And I'm barely on that anymore. I'm thinking of deleting my Instagram because I feel like, what am I getting out of Instagram, especially when they deleted my work and our content creating. So I'm like, what is beneficial from Instagram that I'm getting? I feel like it's not beneficial to me no more. I don't want to go on a tangent about it.
No, that's going to be an episode to come.
We should definitely do an episode on that because
the artist versus all of these platforms.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely. I feel like that's a good episode.
Yeah. And it's not off tangent. Go right ahead. Yeah.
So
speak on it, Queen.
So what is relevant to me? I take on what's relevant to me and what's I feel like give importance. Like I feel like, you know, the news I don't give, like you said, how you said it. You said you take a little bit and you believe, you know, some could be true and some could be false, and it's true.
Take what serves you and discard the rest. Take what serves
you and discard. That's a perfect line. Take what serves you and discard the rest, and that's exactly what I do. Because I know some people that be, oh my God, this is happening. What are we gonna do? And I'm like,
I used to be her. I used to be Chucky Finster. Now I'm Chucky Finster and Angelina. It doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve you, and you change your body. And you make yourself sick.
No, thank you.
You know what I mean?
I'm not doing that. I'm not living in the place of anxiousness. I'm not doing that
and lack.
Anymore. And lack. That's not me. I would never claim that. So
amen.
I discard what's not for me.
Right.
And distance myself from what's not for me. And social media, Instagram is one of them, Facebook is one of them. I don't get nothing from it. So it's like, if I'm going to be a content creator, I want to get benefits from it. I feel like TikTok benefits me. I feel like YouTube benefits me. So I don't feel like the other platforms is doing much for me. And that's just it. I just take what is beneficial. That's it.
In reference to one of the last episodes we did on curating your content, I think it was called How Is Your Diet Going?
Yes.
But it's like curating what and that comes in all the forms. It can't be overstated. I agree with you. I think that warrants conversation. This is an ongoing conversation that requires, I think, another...
I think we're going to do the next episode on that.
Yeah.
That's a good topic.
The artist's struggle. Right. All right.
Let's do that.
Thank you all for joining us again. We hope this was invigorating for y'all as it was for us. I know I was lit ablaze. Like I'm on fire right now in a good way. And I am fire. We are fire or fire compatible. Thank you. Stay up, stay woke, as they say.
And follow us on Instagram.
Hush_hush_ podcast while the Instagram's still there. Yes.
While that's still there. We'll leave that up. But my personal page and my business, my used to be business page is probably going to go down. So I'll think about it.
Well, stay tuned. Stay tuned to know. And keep laughing, y'all.
Keep laughing.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.